So there's been a whole lot of chatter going around lately about the Lakers and this long-term vision they seem to be holding on to. This idea that they're preserving cap space for the summer of 2027 and the dream landing. That next generational star to pair up with Luka Doncic. Names like Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know the type of players that change the direction of a franchise overnight. Those are the targets fans are fantasizing about. But here's the real issue, and it's something that doesn't get enough attention. Players like that rarely, very rarely hit free agency, especially in their prime. Most of the time, those elite once-in-a-decade type players don't just test the open market. What usually happens is they sign the supermax with their current teams, cashing in, locking in the security, and then a year or two later, if things go south, they start nudging toward the exit. That's when trade talks heat up. It's the same formula we've seen time and time again. Think about Anthony Davis. He didn't hit free agency and then just stroll into Los Angeles. He made it clear he wanted out on where he wanted to go, and that forced New Orleans to make a deal. So yeah, technically the Lakers could wait it out, cross their fingers, and hope that a Giannis or a Jokic miraculously becomes a free agent and chooses LA. But realistically, the path to those players runs through trades. And the second any team even smells the possibility that one of these stars might leave for nothing, they start evaluating trade options immediately. The Bucks would do it. The Nuggets would do it. No franchise is going to just sit around and let that level of talent walk away empty-handed. Now here's where things get interesting. What if Giannis or Jokic hypothetically pulled an Anthony Davis move? What if they said, hey, I want to be in Los Angeles. That's where I want to go. That changes the game completely. When a player of that stature zeroes in on one destination, that destination suddenly gains leverage. But even then, there's risk. Remember the Kawhi Leonard situation. Toronto took the gamble. They knew it might be a one-year rental, but they saw a shot at the title and they went for it. It paid off. A team might do the same with Giannis or Jokic. Even if everyone knows the Lakers are the end goal, another team might swoop in thinking, we've got 2 years. Let's try to convince him to stay. If it works, great. If not, maybe they still walk away with a ring. That's the type of gamble a team like Houston could very well take. Now focusing in on Giannis, there's been recent noise suggesting he's still considering the idea of a trade. He hasn't committed long-term in Milwaukee, and there are those subtle signs that maybe, just maybe, he's keeping his options open. From a basketball fit standpoint, pairing Giannis with Luka makes a ton of sense. More than Jokic even, arguably. Luka dominates the perimeter, controls the pace, has the ball in his hands. Giannis brings verticality, transition, dominance, defensive presence, and physicality in the paint. It's a 1-2 punch that could absolutely destroy defenses. That said, Jokic is no consolation prize. If the Lakers somehow landed him, that might be the most fun duo in the league. The creativity, the basketball IQ, the constant movement and passing, it would be beautiful chaos on the court. And with Luka and Jokic already being super tight off the court, that chemistry would translate fast. But back to the Lakers, situation as it stands right now is not looking ideal for a big move in the short term. The truth is their current asset package just isn't all that attractive compared to what other teams can offer. We're talking about maybe one first-round pick, Austin Reeves, and then salary filler like Rui Hachimura or D'Angelo Russell. That's just not enough to compete with what teams like Houston or Oklahoma City can throw out there. However, once the offseason hits, the whole equation changes. Suddenly, the Lakers will have access to more of their future picks. They might even be able to get creative with some sign and trade scenarios. For example, let's say LeBron James decides he wants to go back to Cleveland. There's a scenario where the Lakers could work out a deal and get back guys like Darius Garland and Jared Allen. Two legit assets that instantly upgrade any trade package. Now you start stacking Garland, Allen, Reeves, multiple first rounders. That's the kind of offer that gets the Bucks to pick up the phone. Even more than that, what if the Lakers flipped Jared Allen again for more picks? Then you're talking about adding even more draft capital to the table. And at that point, the Lakers become real players in any superstar sweepstakes. But again, it all hinges on timing and LeBron's willingness to be part of that kind of transition. Because, make no mistake, pushing LeBron out the door or even just gently nudging him toward it is not a simple move. It's sensitive. It has optics. And it's not something the front office is going to do lightly unless LeBron himself is ready for that next chapter. Let's say LeBron does want to stay. Then what you've got LeBron, Luka, and potentially trying to fit Giannis into that mix. It sounds great on paper, but logistically it's a nightmare. Who plays where? How do you make the salaries work? Can you even fill out a competent bench with what little money is left? These are real challenges. And even if LeBron agrees to slide down to the 3 or play more off ball, it's a complicated puzzle. That's why for now, the odds of Giannis ending up in purple and gold this season are incredibly slim. Again, not impossible. Never say never in the NBA, but definitely not likely. A lot would have to break exactly right. You need Giannis to not only push for a trade, but specifically to Los Angeles. You need LeBron to be willing to move. You need other suitors to back off. And you need Milwaukee to actually go through with the deal, which, let's be honest, they probably prefer to avoid unless absolutely forced. Now, let's flip back to Houston for a second. They're a wild card in all this. Tons of picks, tons of young talent, and a front office that might just be crazy enough to roll the dice. If Giannis lands there and the team wins, that changes everything. Suddenly, he's not looking to leave anymore. He's comfortable. He's got a squad. He's got a system. And that LA dream, it dies before it even had a chance to breathe. And that right there is the Lakers' biggest risk, not just missing out on Giannis, but watching him land somewhere else and commit long term. Because once he signs that extension, game over. You're not getting him. That window closes and you're back to square one, staring at Luka and trying to figure out who's the next best fit. Now about Jokic, I actually think he's more attainable than people realize. I'm not saying it's likely, but when you factor in the personality, the priorities, and the potential signs of frustration in Denver, there's something there. Jokic is a guy who doesn't live and breathe basketball the way some other stars do. And that's not a criticism. In fact, it might be exactly why he's so good. The pressure doesn't seem to get to him because deep down, this isn't his everything. He's content with his horses, his quiet lifestyle, and if the vibes in Denver start to sour, he's the kind of guy who might say, you know what, I'm good. Let's move on. And that's why if I had to bet on any of these names ending up in LA, Jokic would be at the top of my list. He's close with Luka. There's already been murmurs about discontent in Denver, especially after the coaching staff shakeup. And let's not forget this league moves fast. Stars get unhappy quickly. One playoff collapse, one front office misstep, and suddenly the guy you thought would be a lifer is on the trade block. So the idea that the Lakers are just sitting back quietly plotting for 2 years down the line, it's not as far-fetched as it might seem. But the risk is obvious. While you're waiting, while you're preserving space and keeping your powder dry, someone else might strike first. Someone might grab Giannis. Someone might lure Jokic. And if that happens, the whole plan falls apart, which is why the Lakers are walking a tightrope right now. The present has to be good enough to keep everyone happy, especially LeBron, but the future has to stay flexible enough to pounce when the opportunity comes. It's a balancing act that not many franchises can pull off. But then again, not many franchises are the Lakers. They've done it before. They've made the impossible happen. But doing it again is going to take a whole lot more than cap space and hope. The whole narrative surrounding the Lakers' long-term cap space strategy isn't just about waiting for a superstar to become available. It's a story about timing, opportunity, and the complex dance of relationships between players, agents, front offices, and even rival franchises. While the public conversation tends to focus on flashy headlines, Lakers to sign Giannis in 2027, or Jokic to join Luka in LA, the reality behind the scenes is far more intricate and nuanced. First, let's talk about Luka Doncic because everything starts and ends with him. Luka is arguably the most important piece in this whole puzzle. He's a transcendent talent, a true generational player who can take over games and alter the landscape of the league. But Luka's style of play and personality also shape what kind of teammates fit best around him. He thrives when he has the ball in his hands, orchestrating the offense, creating plays, and dictating tempo. That means any superstar who joins him has to be able to coexist in that dynamic, not disrupt it. It's why some analysts suggest Giannis might fit better than Jokic. Giannis, with his relentless physicality transition, dominance, and defensive versatility, complements Luka's perimeter genius. He can handle the paint cleanup on defense and finish around the rim, allowing Luka to operate freely on the perimeter. Jokic, on the other hand, is more of a creative hub himself. He demands the ball a lot, thrives on passing and finding teammates, and can slow the pace down with his style. It's not that the two can't coexist. In fact, they could create some of the most unique offensive sets ever seen. But it would require Luka to share or give up a degree of control, something he's rarely been asked to do so far in his career. Now, beyond the on-court fit, there's the off-court chemistry. Luka and Jokic reportedly share a close friendship, which can't be underestimated when it comes to team building. Players want to go where they feel comfortable, where they connect on a personal level, and where they can envision long-term success without friction. This friendship could be a decisive factor if Denver ever decides to entertain trade talks. But chemistry alone doesn't guarantee a deal, especially when you factor in the cost. The price for either Giannis or Jokic will be astronomical. The Lakers' current roster and asset base, as mentioned earlier, aren't exactly overflowing with trade chips that would sway Milwaukee or Denver easily. The Lakers have some young talent and picks, but the core of those teams is valuable and coveted. So the front office has to get creative, which might mean looking at drastic moves, including involving LeBron James in a trade package or even letting him walk, as harsh as that sounds. It's a painful thought for many fans, but the reality is that roster construction around a generational talent requires sacrifice. LeBron's contract and his influence on the team's culture add layers of complexity. On one hand, LeBron is still playing at an elite level, and his presence commands respect and wins games. On the other hand, his enormous contract and the salary cap implications make it tough to maneuver financially. Plus, his potential desire to either chase another championship or start transitioning into a mentorship role in a different context creates uncertainty. The Lakers front office needs to gauge whether LeBron's presence complements or complicates their long-term vision. If he opts to move on or reduces his role, that could free up much-needed cap space and assets to pursue a superstar like Giannis or Jokic. From the perspective of Giannis or Jokic, their motivations and preferences are equally pivotal. Giannis, known for his competitiveness and desire to win, might be open to exploring new opportunities if he feels the Bucks aren't moving in the right direction. However, he's also known for loyalty and has often emphasized his commitment to Milwaukee. Trade rumors involving Giannis have circulated for years, but nothing concrete has materialized because the Bucks have been unwilling to deal a player of his caliber without a clear benefit. For Milwaukee, Giannis is the centerpiece, the face of the franchise, and their best chance at sustained success. They're unlikely to let him go without a monumental offer that reshapes their future. The Lakers would need to assemble such an offer, combining young talent, multiple draft picks, and perhaps a willingness from LeBron to be part of a trade package to make the math work. Jokic's situation is somewhat different. While he's been Denver's anchor for years, the Nuggets have recently experienced some front office turmoil, coaching changes, and playoff disappointments that might affect his long-term satisfaction. Jokic's laid-back personality and less intense approach to basketball can be a double-edged sword. He's incredibly effective, but he may lack the burning passion to stay through rough patches, which means if the environment feels unstable or if championship contention doesn't materialize, he could be open to moving. That makes Jokic potentially more movable than Giannis, though not necessarily cheaper or easier to acquire. Denver's front office would still demand a king's ransom for a player who has won MVPs and redefined the center position with his unique skill set. Houston, meanwhile, adds a wildcard element to the story. They have amassed a treasure trove of draft picks and young players positioning themselves as a logical landing spot for a superstar looking to build a new legacy. For Giannis or Jokic, Houston offers a fresh start with plenty of flexibility to surround them with complementary pieces. The Rockets have shown a willingness to be aggressive in the trade market, and their young talent base could be very appealing to teams like Milwaukee or Denver if the right package is presented. Houston could capitalize on this moment and either keep a star like Giannis long-term or flip assets again if they decide to double down on a different rebuild trajectory. But the Lakers' challenge is that they don't just want to compete with Houston in terms of assets, they also need to compete in terms of vision and lifestyle. Los Angeles is the entertainment capital of the world. It's a glamorous city with endless off-court opportunities for players from business ventures to personal branding to family life. That lifestyle factor has played a huge role in free agency decisions historically, with players often choosing LA for reasons beyond basketball. The Lakers have to leverage that intangible advantage if they want to attract a superstar who might be on the fence between Houston and Los Angeles. However, lifestyle alone doesn't win championships, and players want to know that their team is serious about winning now and in the future. That means a competitive roster, a stable front office, and a credible championship roadmap. This brings us back to the Lakers' current roster and their immediate future. They have some exciting young players like Austin Reeves who have shown potential but aren't yet proven stars. They have some veterans who can contribute, but the overall talent level doesn't scream championship contender right now. That's why the front office is likely trying to balance keeping the team competitive enough to maintain fan interest and keep LeBron happy, while also clearing space and assets for the big swing in 2027 or whenever the opportunity arises. This waiting game is risky. The NBA landscape changes fast. Players get injured, young stars emerge, rival teams improve or falter. The Lakers could wake up one day to find that the superstar they wanted is no longer available, having signed this extension elsewhere or committed to a different franchise. Or worse, another team grabs the star first and builds a powerhouse that blocks the Lakers' path for years. The window for contending closes quickly if the Lakers aren't aggressive or lucky enough to strike a deal. Another element that often gets overlooked is the role of player agents and advisors in these scenarios. They are the gatekeepers of information and influence. They talk to multiple teams, gauge interest, manage expectations, and advise their clients on the best opportunities. If an agent senses that a player's current team isn't committed to winning, or if another team is aggressively pursuing their client with a better plan or more money, they'll push for a move. So part of the Lakers' challenge is not only assembling the right assets, but also building relationships and trust with the players and their representatives. That off-court negotiation can be just as important as the on-court fit. There's also the human element to consider. Superstars like Giannis and Jokic aren't just basketball machines. They have families, personal goals, and dreams. They think about legacy culture and the environment their kids will grow up in. They consider the kind of coaches they want to work with, the type of teammates they want to surround themselves with, and how they want to be remembered in the league's history. These intangible factors sometimes tip the scales in unexpected ways. A player might choose a slightly worse basketball situation if it means a better personal or family life. The Lakers, with their history, star power, and city, can appeal strongly here, but it's a delicate balance. In summary, the Lakers' pursuit of a generational superstar is a complex, high-stakes game of chess. It involves timing, assets, personalities, and a bit of luck. Luka Doncic is a centerpiece, but building around him with a superstar like Giannis or Jokic requires sacrifice and smart planning. The franchise must navigate LeBron's role and manage competing offers from other teams and maintain enough competitiveness to stay relevant. Meanwhile, the personal preferences and motivations of the players themselves add layers of unpredictability. The Lakers' patience and long-term vision could pay off, but the margin for error is slim. In the meantime, they have to make smart moves. Keep their core happy and be ready to pounce the moment the opportunity to add a true superstar presents itself. Because in the NBA, timing isn't just everything, it's the only thing. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates moving on. The Los Angeles Lakers have reportedly set the sports world abuzz with what many are calling a surprising and potentially game-changing acquisition. Rumors swirling around the NBA suggest that the Lakers have secured RJ Hampton, the young and promising guard, as their big British signing, though this claim has raised eyebrows and sparked debates across fan forums and media outlets alike. Hampton, widely recognized for his agility, court vision, and scoring ability, has been linked to several teams before, but the notion of him joining the Lakers has taken the rumor mill by storm. What makes this even more intriguing is the reference to him as a British signing, which has left many questioning the accuracy of such an announcement given Hampton's American roots.